Another episode of Beyond the Beef, where we not only talk about everyday problems, we talk about everyday solutions.
Hey, Bob.
Hey, James.
How we doing?
Good.
Doing all right?
Yeah. I mean, we've
Good.
been doing 5 minutes of pre-work and you didn't comment on my turtleneck yet.
No, I didn't yet. I call it the Dieter turtleneck, by the way. It's been a long time. I've just been so busy trying to figure out my life a little bit here as I keep moving around my adjustments on my camera, trying to find the best place to be and stuff. You know, like there's a lot going on in this room. I'm in the same room, by the way, every time I shoot one of these. Yeah. And just so everybody knows, like I'm not changing rooms. I'm just changing angles. I'm trying to find, keep things a little bit new, right, but also good.
I think this is your best one now
right,
that I'm
good.
Like backed out of it.
I like it. I kind of feel good about it. But yeah, the turtleneck's good. You're missing the blazer.
Yeah, you know what it is? I'm going to tell you. This is my problem. I bring it up because it's a Bobism. And, people seem to like Bobisms.
Yeah, no, I love them. I love them.
It's not that big of a Bobism, but I traveled this week. I don't travel that much anymore.
Oh,
right?
So you're back to the...
Well, I don't want to say that.
Okay. Back to turtleneck, Bob. Yeah, all right. Talk to me.
No, well, okay. So I went and I'm like, okay, so I don't deliver that many workshops on site anymore. And this was kind of a little bit of multi-day. So I'm like, how are people dressing nowadays post-COVID, right? And,
For sure.
and you never really know. This place was like kind of more on the casual side. So I was like, I don't know if I'm going to wear like a turtleneck with a vest or maybe I'll wear my button down with the vest. So I brought both. And... And so here's where the Bobism comes is I decided to wear the button down, a regular like button down shirt.
Yeah, sure.
Vest looked great, by the way.
Sure.
Fit, my pants fit, which was really
your pants
important.
Fit. That's usually an issue
more than
for me,
fit, in fact. So that means
they're
that I guess if I'm not traveling, I'm not eating that much. Yeah, so that was good. But now I have these two extra turtlenecks in my luggage.
Sure.
That I've not used. Now, my question to you is, if this happens to you, I'm sure you've overpacked for trips and things like that.
Every single trip.
Okay. When that happens, what do you do with the clothes that you haven't worn, but that are perfectly clean, but you've had in your do you wash them?
Oh, you've got a commingle problem, don't you?
I don't know yet. You tell me.
All right. So it depends, but let me give you a little bit more on that. If it's a business trip, typically pretty clean for the most part. I'm usually probably a repacker at that point. Like I won't wash them again when I put them back in my dresser, right? Okay. If I come back with extra clothes, business trip, I won't wash them. Now, I do make sure that everything that I pack that's dirty is typically either in a bag or in a separate compartment. Shoes are in a separate compartment, for example. Dirty clothes, especially real dirty clothes, if I'm sweating because it's, real busy sort of workshop or something, or hot day or whatever, I'll put that in a bag and keep that separate. So that's a caveat to that.
If you put it actually in a bag, you won't mix
I'll take the laundry bag in the closet and I'll put my dirty clothes in there, and those are my dirty clothes, and I keep my clean clothes separate, and that way I feel comfortable. And then I've got a little zipper pocket that I keep my shoes in, and I put them in there. So I do keep them separate. Now, if I'm coming home from a vacation, like a beach, everything gets washed. Because a grain of sand, anything like that. I think that's probably everybody. But that's the way you do it. You see, you've got a little bob in you. You don't think you don't have a little bob. But I'll tell you why I can't do what you just said is because it's the putting stuff in a bag, and then that means I'm not folding it back. So I have to fold my dirty clothes. Yeah, the dirty ones I fold and I put them on the bottom, and then I'll put the clean ones on the top. So they're separated by something like a vest or a jacket, whatever. Sure.
But here's my reasoning. Okay, so yes, I do this. Same. I don't wash it when I get home because I feel like that's kind of a waste. But I need to wear it right away. I won't put it back into
this is odd. Okay, so you need to wear it right away.
And here's the reason: is this is the Bobism. Is that you go to the hotel and kind of paranoid about bed bugs. Right. So I keep my, suitcase closed. I think I'm not the only one that does that. But then when I bring this stuff home, I'm like, I'm not going to integrate the clean, unused, but packed clothes back into my dresser because
just in case
so I keep them out and then I wear them immediately No matter if
you wear
there's
them
a call
instead.
for it. Like bed bugs
Not
can't
where I
hop
thought
on.
you would go, Bob.
I know, this is why it's a Bob because it makes no sense at all. But so now I have these 2 turtlenecks that are not integrated back into my clothes, but that I have to wear in the next couple of days, regardless of what I'm doing. So
that's a very interesting.
It's a weird way to do it, right?
That's a very interesting way of doing it because I totally would have thought you would have been like, oh, this stuff's going in the wash. Like there could be a single bug or there could be this. That's where I thought, but you just want to wear it.
I want to wear it because
there's part of you that's there's a part of you that's like, I also don't want to waste. I don't want to just wash things that are clean. That's ridiculous. So
that's the part that wins.
Between, the in between is really what you're doing. Is I'll wear it so it's not waste, and then we'll go from there.
That's exactly right. So there you go. Okay. So that's how this came about. This is not my new beef attire.
No,
unless I traveled the day before.
Yeah.
But okay. So there you go. Now, another thing I want to tell you about the travel, I have other, of course, travel stories, but we have a lot to get to. You have a lot to get to. So I want to say one other thing about the travel is that I drove this time. It was kind of a longer distance, maybe three and a half hours, something like that. And I drove and the whole way up, I was like, I don't really listen. I listened to beefs.
Okay, nice.
Man, they're good. Nice. I'm going to tell you something. They're good. The only problem is, like, as I'm listening to it, I was like, oh, I wish I would have said that. I wish I would have said, why didn't I think of that? I was collecting stories that I'm like, how did I miss that one?
Yeah. This would have been a good follow-up that really would have added some juice. Yeah, I do the same thing.
Exactly. But they're good, man. Yeah. We're good. I don't understand what's going on here.
I like
us too.
I think it's just that, I think people have got to hear us, They
got to know us. Right?
I got some ideas of things we maybe gotta adjust a little bit. I think we gotta cut some pieces out that are some chapters and some pieces. I know you chapterized it, but we need just some shorter pieces. I think so people could shorter digest. If we post a short real quick, because we post a lot of shorts and started using TikTok and all those things. So feel free to follow us and listen and do all that stuff. By the way, Instagram, TikTok, all that jazz. But if they could connect to something shorter, that's not 45 minutes because we can really talk. Then maybe more people will listen to some of those individual clips. We'll work on some stuff.
I'm open to it. We're now at a point where we've got to. I think we've got a product.
Yeah.
We've got a product, right? So now it's like, okay, we got to get it out there. I'm comfortable getting it out there now because I think it's a good product. Okay, so there's that. You got to get the TikTok, the Beyond the Beef TikTok handle. Maybe.
Yeah, I got it. I'm having some issues, but I got it. It's coming. Yeah. It's coming. Right now it's under Jimmy Rader, but it's coming. I got it. I'm going to have it done in the next 48 hours.
You probably want to have
I was actually working on it. I was actually working on it today. So
Jimmy Rader's a persona. I mean,
Jimmy Rader's going to stay. Jimmy Rader's going to stay, but right now all of our beefs are on Jimmy Rader. But I got the Beyond the Beef channel, TikTok channel that's coming in hot. Everybody will find it.
Big shakeup with the Raiders, huh?
Fired their offensive coordinator, QB coach, and others, and that's fine. The biggest problem with the Raiders, not to get in all football talk, is consistency. You look at a team like the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they've had like 3 head coaches in all their time. We've had like 3 head coaches in the last 3 years, and it's like you just can't get a good game plan in place. It's like a corporate organization, right? You keep changing leaders, you keep changing people and methodologies, game plans. It works the same way. Like you're not going to be as successful, but even long-term, good, strong, stable, leadership.
People are looking to be
successful. Right.
They're looking for a throat to choke, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
To speak. So you got to do something.
Yeah.
But okay, so there we go. But I'm going to pass this back to you because I think. Yeah. But we've got to get to this election thing too.
We do have to get there.
This is our election special. I guess.
Yeah. It is. But we'll have to get.
So we'll get there. But I know you have some things that you said were on your mind. So let's go. What do you got?
This is going to be a bit of a heavy one. By the way, between the election and what I'm about to bring up, this is going to be a bit of a heavy beef. Okay.
Okay.
Everything's good.
Just scared. I really don't know what you're going to say.
I know he has no idea.
No idea.
So on Sunday, I got a text and a phone call from my brothers, and my mother had a heart attack. So told you it was going to be heavy. Told you it was going to be heavy.
This is
I told you it was going to be heavy. She's okay. Let me go ahead and say she's okay. Okay.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
And she's all right. But as you know, my mother also has Alzheimer's, right? So it's like early stages of it. She still knows who people are, but she's forgetful and things to that nature. So if she listens to this, hopefully she'll forget shortly after because, I'm going to talk about her a little bit. I'm going to talk about her a little bit now, but she's an angel. She lives close by, right? There's a I have 3 older brothers, so we all work to take care of her. But on Sunday, my brother was at church with her, and she was having some pains, which my mother is like 5'2", but just probably one of the strongest people in the world. And she was, oh, my chest hurts a little. Oh, my back hurts a little. And then my mom started, having a drop of sweat. And my mother's always cold, right? Always cold. So he's like, all right, we got a problem. Call the ambulance, get there. And apparently, she was 100% blocked. Right?
In one area?
Yeah, and what they call the Widowmaker, which is,
one.
the main, I think it's LAD or whatever. But it's like the LAD, I knew it at the time. I could pull it up on my phone because I got pictures of it and everything. So they went in. They thought it was going to be simple. They wound up taking a little bit of extra time. 3 stents she's got put in, which is just amazing. I mean, this is incredible what they can do through her wrist. They went in through her wrist. They went all the way through the artery. They put in a little mesh wires to open the arteries.
It's amazing.
Took the clog out. And, she was in by, I'll say, about 1 o'clock, 12:30, 1 o'clock. By the time she went in at 3:30, I'm in the room with her. Right. Mm-hmm. And she doesn't even know what happened. Right. So interesting part of the whole thing. But so she's good. She's healthy. She's home. So I'll just put that out there now.
Yeah.
Okay. But one of the problems that I had is my mother has Alzheimer's. And as I mentioned,
like advanced, or is it
not advanced? Right? It's early on, but she'll ask the same question every couple of minutes. Right? Ask how you're doing. Feel like I'll leave the room. If I left the room for an hour or so and came back, she wouldn't know that I was there. It would be for, I haven't seen you in a while, things like that. But she knows my name. She knows my wife's name. She knows the kids, all that sort of stuff. Yeah. And part of what I have an issue with is, you hear about and you're listening and if you're on the radio, you're reading the news, you're understanding a little bit about what's going on in the world right now. There's a lot of people that have Alzheimer's or dementia of some kind. Yeah. And to me, it's one of the worst diseases in the world. Yeah. It is, when my father passed away, she still looks for him every day and, all that stuff, doesn't know where he is. And he's passed away a few years ago, right?
Yeah.
So it's like damaging and hard and all that stuff. Well, she was in the hospital. They knew she had Alzheimer's, and there was no change in care. And I understand that there could be staffing things or things that go on. But what I would expect in this day and age is that with all the people that are within the hospital, you understand somebody has Alzheimer's, maybe somebody could spend some time with them or understand where they are or understand maybe there's a ward, maybe there's a group of rooms where there's an extra person that keeps an eye on them. And there wasn't, right? So, when I showed up one day, she was basically locked in a chair watching TV because she kept getting up, not knowing where she was. And I got there and was there for, the majority of the day. And then she was in ICU. She had one level of care. And then she was in another room and she didn't have that. So then my brother shows up and she's out in the hallway locked in a chair because she kept getting up, wondering where she was due to the calls at night and things like that and walking around and things like that. And there was just this level of frustration that I have because this visit won't be cheap, okay? No. This visit will have a large expense on it, and I get it, and it's saved her life, and the medicine is amazing what they're able to do.
In this case,
right?
Triage. They're good at this triage, though. Like, they're good at mechanical stuff. Yeah.
I just don't get it, right? Like my grandmother had Alzheimer's. I know a lot of people, their parents, their grandparents all had Alzheimer's or dementia of some kind. They don't know where they are. I don't get how your solution to this when somebody, that she can't be the only one, is to lock them in a chair. Safety, whatever. Can't you bring
lock
people
like
or do something? It's literally like almost like you can compare it to like a high chair for when a baby's eating, right?
I see. There's like
it's
a tray
chair,
that comes down.
But it's not. Yeah, it's not like you can easily do it. They have a little thing. They have to go underneath and unlock it in order to take that top off. So she couldn't get out. She couldn't slide out. She couldn't do whatever. It's got a tray on it and whatnot. And they kept her in there. And I just, and part of it is because she's not going to remember what they just did to her.
Yeah.
She's not going to know. And you have to live in a different world with this stuff. You got to live in the moment. You got to make her happy in the moment. You can't look for making memories for the future because they don't exist. So your mindset has to be in the moment. And I'm just upset with the healthcare, with the choices that they made in this major hospital when I know she's not a one-off case.
No, and it's getting to be less of a one-off case every day, right?
As time and time goes on. So it just made me nuts. And I just wish if I'm, and this is just me, complaining a little bit because it was a tough week. And this is one of those things that I wish that we could fix, that we could manage, that we could be more customer focused and facing around what's going on in those changes to be able to manage and maintain and help in some sort of way. Like every single person that came in, I had to tell them that she had this. Nobody knew. There was nothing writing. There was nothing on a wall. There was no special code on the wall that says this is what she has, so that when people enter, they don't ask her all of these questions that she doesn't have the answer to because she doesn't know. So every single person, if you weren't there, they wouldn't, and all of this, nobody knew. Everybody was oblivious. There was no communication. There was, and I don't know, maybe it's just this hospital or just this ward or just this day. I don't know, but it's a big one. It's a good hospital for the most part. So I didn't expect it. That's all.
Well, look, man, look, you've got, you went through trauma, right? This is trauma. And look, there's a part of this that it's your mother. There's nobody that's going to do right by her. I don't care what they did, right? They're not going to do right by your mother because it's your mother. But then the other part of it is this assembly line medicine that we always talk about, right? And this is the way that most people kind of deal with customers, whether it's hospitals or doctors or businesses, or just what we talked about a couple of episodes ago. Yeah. It's like, they don't, I don't say they don't care, but they treat everything like it's an assembly line, right? There's so many patients, so many this, so many that. But there are doctors and hospitals and nurses and whatever that will go that extra mile and treat everybody like it's their own mother. Yeah. Just your chances of finding that is like almost nothing, right? Almost nothing. It's the same thing in business, like you said. I mean, that's what I try and do with my customers when I talk to my customers and how other vendors deal with them. It's like you're describing, right? Yeah. And it's like, I don't know what the answer to that is. Is it just too many people on earth? Are we too entitled? Do we just not care enough? Are we too innerly focused? Probably all of those things, right?
Yeah, listen, I could take it back to business, like you said. Like sometimes you're just in the middle of what I always call a tornado, right? Like it's just what happens, and it's the easiest. So we just go from point A to point B. If she does this and she gets up and she does it too often, we lock her in a chair. Sometimes, same thing with business, right? If this happens, I do this, I check this box, I do this, I go forward. And sometimes we got to get out of that a little bit, get out of that tornado, and look from the outside in and go, oh, I could do things a little different. Like if we did things just a little different in this process, if we but you get caught up in this whirlwind of this is just where we go. It's just what we do. Yeah. Right. Hey, and you flock and you don't take a step outside.
I'll give you an example of this. Anything I say at this point, I'm like, oh my God.
No. Light it up a little bit. Light it up, buddy.
Mother, right? Light it up. I have no idea if this is a good analogy.
She's healthy. She's home. But
I think it's what I do think it's what you're talking about because, okay, so I had another problem with another thing in my house, right? A plumbing fixture that's literally 6 months old. Part of my bathroom renovation is leaking, right? So I call up the company who made it and I said, hey, this problem, it's leaking. They said, oh, you got to change the valve, right? So it's easy to do. But the part, not that expensive. We'll give it to you for free, but it's on back order for 3 months, right? Okay. It's leaking now, right? Right. They said, but don't worry. They said, looking right now, you can get it on Amazon. It's a genuine part. It's ours and everything else. And so get it on Amazon and we will reimburse you. We have a process to do this because apparently it happens a lot, right? So, okay. Well, that's nice. Great, right? Good. So I do it while I'm on the phone with her. It's a great service, really, and truly. And I do it while I'm on the phone with her. Get the part and she said, send me the receipt. And then we'll put it through for processing. She goes, now, when we put it through for processing, we do it through our bank. And so, these are big companies. So you're talking about big banks, right? Of
course.
So we do it through our bank. So you're going to get an email from the bank who then is going to ask you just to do a quick registration. And then you're going to be able to get the payment automatically through your bank. Oh, okay, great. No problem. I'm ready for this, right? Okay, so I get the email from the bank and it says, registration. It's all my information is pre-filled out. I know it's legit. All I got to do is create a password. Perfect, right? Yeah. So I go there and I see that they have my home phone number listed as my mobile number. Okay. No big deal. I figure I'll change it. Yeah. Can't change it. Okay. Now I know that I'm one of not many people. There are not many people that still have home phone numbers, but I am one of them. I can't be the only one, right? So,
I have one. I don't even know what it is. Just keep going.
Okay, but anyway, so this is what I give out. But the reason I give that one out is because I don't want people calling me on my phone all the time. The spam, right? The spam. I want to go to my home phone, not to my mobile phone, which I use for business. Okay, so anyway,
gotcha.
So I register and I can't change my phone. So I'm like, well, I'll just go through the process. And of course, what's the first thing that happens? That to complete the registration, we just sent a code to your mobile number, which is not my mobile number, and you need to tell us what the code is. Oh my goodness. So I call up the company again and I explain the situation. And they said, oh yeah, we get that call a lot. They said, dude, don't worry. I said, don't worry, within 2 weeks, whatever it is, how many days, we'll know that you couldn't complete the registration. Then they'll send you a paper check. Okay. Sounds good, I guess, right?
Yeah, if I need to, whatever.
I was like, that's fine. I said, so this is what I said. I said, as feedback though, if you're getting this call a lot, maybe when you tell us about this thing that you're going to do, make sure that our phone on file is the mobile phone because that's what's going to be needed. To which the answer should have been what?
We'll take that into consideration. We'll take a look at it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. That's good feedback. No, Of course, that was not the answer. The answer was, well, we don't ask what the phone number is because if we ask for what the phone number is, it's just not part of our process. Yeah, I'm aware of that. That's what I'm giving you feedback to try to change, right? Because by not asking what type of phone it is, you are running into this problem and you're frustrating your customers.
Yeah.
But I think why did I think of this is because it's that same thing. Like, this is my process. And even if it's not working, this is my process.
It's just what I do.
Somebody gets up from the chair, I'm going to lock them in the chair. That's it. I don't really care what's... And then if you say, you know what, maybe you shouldn't have locked her in the chair because she's got Alzheimer's and, that's not really good for her. But that's what we do. So I think it's that kind of thing, right?
It's totally. And it's like, disrupt the process a little. Like, take a second to take out and look and disrupt the process because that's how things get better. That's how we take care of people and process and things better. 100%. 100%.
That's what I think anyway.
Yeah,
okay.
I agree. I didn't mean to make it so heavy. I know, my mom is back at home and, the good news is she doesn't remember she had a heart attack. So, we just have to keep reminding her and whatnot. But she is a strong woman.
But listen, buddy, you got to talk about it. And why not here? Because it's on your mind. And, that's a tough thing.
And if I'm going to beef about something, I'm going to beef about, something that I wish people could listen and think about, all right, maybe we should change that a little bit. I don't know if people will, but maybe we can change that a little bit. Maybe we can do something. Maybe we could think about these type of, how do we communicate this with other nurses or doctors to know so we approach it different or, that all of these pieces along the way. But
no, because we're getting more and more internally focused, right?
I know.
And maybe I'm not blaming these people. I don't know, but my guess is that the nurses are more concerned with how it affects them, right? I'm having a bad day. I want to have a worse day. I don't want to work the other. I don't know, right? But this is what you see a lot in employees and people who are so internally focused, which is going to bring us back to the election, I'm sure.
But this is now.
Getting there very quickly. But yes, I mean that's kind of where this goes. But I do want to ask one thing. So this is kind of, okay. So we're getting up there in age, right?
Yeah.
And maybe my, I don't know what's going to happen. No. I'm saying that I worry more and more about this type of thing the older I get,
now.
right?
Me more and more.
Yeah, you too now. And especially since, the doctors, the cholesterol and this and that, the other things, which, whatever. But I always wonder when you hear these stories, it's like, why don't we just do this? Like at 50, why don't we just clear everything out and we start over again? Like
same thing
while
to
we're here.
My wife.
It's so easy.
Just go in. If you're done in an hour, if you're done in an hour and a half, get right in there, clean them out. If I need a couple stents, put them in, and let's go on with life.
If the Widowmaker is the Widowmaker, we know that it's probably the chances of it getting clogged in every one of us, especially with the American diet, is high, right? Like all of us probably have some blockage at some age. Go in and proactively clean out the pipes just like you would do for your house, right?
Bro, I promise you, It seemed like the easiest. Like, I know it's not easy, but if it was the quickest, they said she just twilighted too. They didn't even give her like full knockout. She was just in twilight, and they went right in and they did this stuff. I'm like, I'll do it. Check me out while I'm here because I'm getting nervous now. I'm like, of course, go check it. Can you check out mine real quick? See if I need anything in there before anything gets ugly.
Every time I go to the doctor, he's giving me my numbers. I come out like. Yeah, and look, I don't know what's going on inside me because they wanted, when you get a certain age, they want to do the testing and this and that and see the calcium scores and and my answer to that is, okay, this is why I didn't do it, by the way. Like they said, we could do this calcium scoring thing and see, if you have clogs and this, that, it's okay. I said, so what if I do? Oh, well, then we'll know that you're at risk for heart. Okay, and then what? Then we'll put you on some medicine. What the medicine, does it work? Well, we don't really. No, if the answer was, hey, if you have clogs, we're going to go in and we're going to clean you out, I'd be like, sign me up. Yeah.
We just call the local heart plumber. We call the heart plumber and he'll clean the pipes and you'll be good to go.
A little bit of Drano. And
bring it. No,
but the answer is, if you're clogged up, we're going to put you on a lifetime of cholesterol medicine, which really not really sure does anything.
Yeah, that hopefully work. By the way, my mom is like 95 pounds soaking wet. She's 5'2". She's been on cholesterol medicine her whole life because,
of course she has.
Because they've said she has high cholesterol because it's hereditary and it's not due to her weight. And here we are. We're still here.
And here we are. We're still here.
And it wasn't just a little something. I granted she's 81 years old, so I know things happen. Maybe it would have happened sooner, but let's go clean the pipes.
Clean the pipes. That does work. Cholesterol medicine. Look, I know a lot of people argue. Okay, there's plenty of evidence that cholesterol medicine does not work. One thing we definitely know about cholesterol medicine is it's not supposed to be in your body and it has some side effects, right? So like, what doesn't have side effects? Go and clean me out. I get that there's risk with it, but I don't get it. Like,
I'm telling you, they
give me some Drano, man.
Again,
clean the pipes.
They didn't even knock her out. She's in twilight. She's done an hour and a half, and it was a major one, right there. Like she had a major heart attack. And 3:30, an hour and a half later, she's like, hey,
she's 81 years old. She could eat half a pound of mozzarella every day for the next
she's clean.
20 years. Nothing's going to happen.
She's got iron pipes now.
Can I have that, please? Yeah. That's the procedure I'm looking for now, before anything happens.
Exactly.
Why don't you just do
put
that?
It in there. Exactly.
Just go in there. Oh my God.
Maybe every couple of years, you just go in there, clean out the pipes, do a little quick surgery, and be done.
I'm sure there's a million reasons why it can't be done.
There are.
But you know what? Most of the time when those reasons, and I'm like, I really don't know what I'm talking about. Then someone who does know what they're talking about tells me the reasons. I'm like, no, I was right.
Yeah, of course.
Those are not good reasons.
We could right now turn this into a real conversation around pharmaceutical companies, but we're not. But we're not going to go there if we want to talk about the whys.
Oh my goodness! All right, we got to get to the election day special.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
I love. Listen. Okay, so what happened. We're independent, so who cares? But I have mostly some things to say about the reaction, right? Okay. And so there's a post-election reaction and a pre-election reaction and a post-election reaction. And I want to get your thoughts on the pre-election reactions, because I saw you posted a few sarcastic remarks, which I loved. So why don't you tell everybody kind of what you were doing there?
Well, first of all,
I think you were stirring.
So again, independent. Wasn't really going either way on any of these things. But, one of the things I talked about was the amount of signs that were out and the signage around properties and lawns all across my area of the country, which I'm sure wasn't alone, right?
No.
And I was not leaning towards any group at all. I was just saying, hey, sarcastically speaking, thank you, everybody, for putting up signs and reminding me of who I should vote for, because I still don't get why people put up these signs. Like, we come from a time, and I still believe in it, where I didn't tell a whole lot of people who I was voting for.
Yeah.
And now we're like posting it like it's our badge of courage. And it goes back to, to me, you're not convincing anybody with these. Let's face it. No one's driving by and going, oh, that's a nice big sign for Trump. I'm going to vote for him. That sign is bigger than that small little Harris Trump.
Good point.
Sign. Good point. I got it. He will make it again. Like, no one's getting convinced. You're just pounding your chest saying who you're voting for. And that's it.
That's right. Yeah. And you do that on Facebook too.
Yeah, but you know what? Everywhere.
So here's what it it is. And we already talked about it, didn't even really put it together, right? Yeah. But it's the same reason you have a Raiders helmet behind you, right? That's all they're doing. Is they're just claiming their tribe. They're saying, this is who I am, this is what I stand 100%. For. And but where it gets bad is, unlike a Raiders fan, I think, you're not going to sit there and say, if you're not a Raiders fan, you're a complete jerk and you're a complete this and you're a complete that. You're not going to hate on people that are not Raiders fans. You're just saying, I'm a Raiders fan because I love being a Raiders fan. I want to let everybody know I'm a Raiders fan. Right. And that's where it goes bad, right? Is where put out your signs, fly your flags. I don't care. But the minute you turn it into, and if you support the other one, then you are blah-diddy, blah-diddy, blah-diddy. That's where you go bad, right? That's where
it goes wrong, right?
That's where it goes wrong.
And that's where we haven't learned enough around how to communicate and how to think. And how to just, any of that stuff, rationalize, guys, chill out.
Come on, chill out.
We're in this place, like we've said this over and over again. Like, if you vote one way, it doesn't mean you're supporting having open borders. If you vote one way, necessarily, right? Because you may believe in some of the other things. You may or may not. And if you vote the other way, it doesn't mean you're racist or you're
anti-women,
LGBTQ, women, all of that stuff. There's policies that go beyond that on either side, and we just go to that other end. And people will disagree with me all day long. But you're stuck in this place where if you want me to vote and you're out there saying, don't forget to vote, you can't then ridicule me for voting for either one of these because you're telling me to choose a gang. You're telling me to be a gang member either side. And I'm going to do it because I do vote.
Me too.
And I'm gonna vote for the one that, outside of all the ugliness and the things I may not agree with, that I agree with the most. Right? And that's it. It's a weighted real Ben Franklin plus Delta analysis that I do on each, and that's it.
And so I'm going to cover the post-mortem here, right? Because this is the part that drives me craziest. So of course, no matter which side won, the other one was going to be like, oh my God, the world is coming to an end, right? Which is what we're getting right now. And it happens to be the side on, oh my God, women's rights are going to be taken away and gay rights are going to be taken away. And this is that. And the other thing, oh my God, the world's coming to an end. We need crisis, mediation and all this other stuff. And this is what gets to me. And again, if it was the other side, it'd be the same conversation. So it just happens to be.
It's just the way it is.
It's just the way it is, right? And here's what cracks me up. We are so brainwashed because the fact of the matter is, no matter who won, nothing ever changes. It doesn't change. If things change, it's so incrementally small. It's nothing. Nothing changes. I mean, like you look at the Trump argument. Oh my God, Trump. I mean, I literally had people saying women's rights are going to be taken away. Gay rights are going to be taken away. This and that and the other. I'm like, this man was president for 4 years. Nothing happened. Nothing. He said a few things you didn't like, right? He made a few remarks that that you disagreed with. Nothing happened. No. And by the way, Biden has the same thing. We're acting like the world is falling apart. My God, the price of eggs is this and that. And like we talked about we're all still going out to restaurants. We're all still spending eating. Tons of money.
Taking pictures of your fancy vacations.
Vacations, the vacations are up. Nothing happened. Nothing. Okay. And as stop. Nothing's changing. So stop with this. You've been brainwashed in order to vote one party into power versus another, but on whole, nothing changes ever.
Yeah. I agree with you.
Ever.
I agree with you. And the only, if we go back to the original reason why I felt like Trump was getting his attention back in the day, it's because everybody felt like they were being lied to by politicians, right? And he was transparent and he was honest. And as much as we may hate him for the way he thinks or feels or may not respect him morally, he was at least being honest and not lying like the politicians. He ain't getting more done, guys. I got news for you. I'm not picking sides here because I won't do that because it's not just about this show. It's about my life and how I live.
Of course.
But either way, you're not going to have all these things that people fear. Now I'm hearing that Trump is going to change things so that it's not another 4 years. He's going to change the Constitution so he can be president forever.
Right. That's how it works.
Do you realize that just because these people are also Republicans, can we understand that people are going to disagree with him that are in these other areas?
And that's why things like the filibuster and things exist.
Exactly.
There are checks and balances, which usually cause nothing to change, right? And in 2 years, when there's more shifts are going to happen in Congress because guarantee things are going to go back the other way, right? Because it's the way they always do. It's like we keep shifting back and forth and in the meantime, nothing changes, nothing gets done, no major thing. You might have little policy issues here and there, and then they get overturned on the next administration, and then they go back on the next administration. On balance, the same level of everything continues to exist. And what is that same level of everything? It's all driven by the same thing: money. Whoever's got the money.
Greed.
That's what drives policy. That's what drives politics. That's what drives our country. You may not like it. I'm not saying it's all good, but it has nothing to do with which party is in power. It never did. It's who's got the money, because that's who we listen to.
That's right.
That's it.
That's 100% right. And that is also, I think, to add to that, this whole process has been driven around money and fear. And people have tried to install fear, like massive fear, not like, hey, I believe, back in the day, it was like, yeah, you know what? I like this policy better than this one. I like this taxation policy better than this one. This one has gone to, there's like, we were going to have a dictator or a socialist economy. And I'm like, what are we talking about with these extremes that are taking place? And then we take things that we're saying during all of this time. And it cracks me up because, as you know, I was in financial services for a lot of years as well. And we look at like our times now, and we're saying things like, oh God, look at what happened in the economy in the last 4 years. Well, that doesn't happen to an economy in 4 years. That happens to an economy over time, and then the results happen, and that will continue to happen again. And that will continue to go on because this is the environment that we live in, and rates will go up, rates will go down, prices will go around. And yes, the economy as a whole will take place, but we pinpoint it and say, oh, it's their fault, or it's that person's fault, or it's that person's fault.
This is exactly right. Look at everything that we keep. The economy is a big thing, right? Inflation happened. Why did inflation happen? It's a very, very simple formula. During COVID, we printed money. And that happened under who? That happened under Trump, right? We printed money. When you print money, the value of the dollar does what? Goes down. That's it. Inflation goes up. It has nothing to do with Biden and Harris doing that. We all did it, right? Same thing. I know this is so controversial, but Roe v. Wade, I get it. By the way, most people who talk about this, if they don't realize all that happened was we took away that protection at the federal level and put it to the states. We didn't remove abortion. We didn't do all this other stuff. But even if you believe any of that stuff, it happened under Biden and Harris's administration. And I'm not saying that it's because, yes, you say, oh, the Supreme Court justices were picked under Trump's administration. Yeah, and they were approved by a bipartisan Congress. And when the Democrats had a chance to come in, they could have codified Roe v. Wade. They didn't, right? So the point of the matter is that you can't pinpoint it on one person or another. If something happened, there's collective responsibility.
Exactly.
It's not one party or another. It's you've been duped. You've been brainwashed. Calm down. Right?
And here's what's exactly. And here's what's going to happen. I hope. And here's what's hopefully going to happen, which would have happened probably either way. Hopefully the economy will shift, things will happen, interest rates will change, and the economy will get better over the next couple of years. We're going to have a couple of hard years. This is my prediction. We're going to have a couple more hard years, and things may get a little worse before they get better. But there's going to be a better point. So
and it was
no matter who was in this
world,
right? Because not only that, with the printing money and piece, right? These companies weren't making money. Right. No. So they're also trying to recoup the money that they weren't making during COVID because nobody was leaving the house. Nobody was buying things. Nobody was traveling. Nobody was doing all of these pieces as well. So we're still in that point where, prices are up and the value of the dollar is down.
And listen, I'm not taking positions where people have very strong opinions on Roe v. Wade and abortion and this and that and the other.
For sure.
And that's fine. I respect people's opinions. It's not, that's not a matter of me saying one is wrong, one is right, this, that, the other. Just stop stop getting crazy about it. Like, it's not one person's fault or another person's fault or this or that or the other thing. It's always a collective, and it happens over periods of time. And administrations in the past are as equally responsible as what happens in administrations in the present. Like, we've been brainwashed into thinking that one side is evil and one side is not. And they're all the same. This is
not only that, right? I think there's even a there's a brainwash that, like, you know, it's funny because, as you know, I have an American flag tattoo on my arm, right? And it's in honor of my father, who was in the Army and yada, 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 right? He was in Vietnam in the war and things to that nature. But even the American flag piece, people see it and they think I'm a Republican. Well, why can't I? Why can't I love America? Right? Right? Can't I love America if I'm voting independent or Democrat? That's an interesting. It's an interesting summation that you have. Just the fact that I have an American, like that's you're only American if you're Republican. I'm like,
people's hypocrisy.
I love my country, and
we talk about the hypocrisy. It was like crazy. I was telling you about my daughter to finish up that story of you know, a couple of weeks ago that she couldn't even go near a Trump store and be ostracized. For sure. You know, now of course her friends are gone crazy because Trump has been, and they've been taught by their parents literally that people who voted for Trump or like Trump are evil people. Don't associate yourself with them. It's like, you're supposed to be the party of acceptance, and you know, and you're the ones that are now saying, if you don't believe what I believe, I hate you. Do you not see anything wrong with that? Like that, you've been brainwashed.
You know what's funny?
Understand?
I'm glad you brought that up because my my stepdaughter has the opposite. So a lot of people in her school are Trump fans. So they're Trump supporters. The kids are, and this, and this, and there's. She's like, and she feels differently. And again, I let her. I did not tell my kids or stepkids who I was voting for. I said, if you want to look at the presidential candidates, you look at everything else online. Go do some research, real research. Here's some places to look, and you make a decision on what's what. And that's the decision that she made on her own. But there was a little bit of ridicule, but how could you do that? Don't you love our country? Don't you? So you know, so I got the other side taking place too, and I don't know why.
But at least that's not supposed to be the party of acceptance.
I mean, I do. Yeah, right. But listen, I do know why.
I'm just kidding. The part is, we're all humans. This is what we do.
I do know why people do this, because everyone's looking for a battle. Everyone's looking for a team.
That's right.
Everybody's looking for all this stuff, right? And it's like win or lose or always. Like someone's got to win or lose. And I'm approaching what is happening now and hoping for the best. And I will support what I believe in, and
if it changes,
support
it changes.
no matter what, right? And that's it. And right now,
fight the real fights, right?
Exactly. And right now, let's just say what it is. There won't be, you know, he's got what he needs, Trump now as president of the United States, to do what he says he wants to do. He's got no excuses at this point.
Let's see what happens.
If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. If it does, it does. But listen,
nothing's going to happen, James.
I'm
calling it right now.
Yeah, we weren't going to like disappear as a country and lose all of our, you know, all of our rights and all of our money. If
nothing's going to happen, James. I'm calling it now, because these are not the people in power. This is all baloney. The people in power are the ones that fund them, whoever that is, right? I know Trump's a billionaire. That whole party is getting funded,
He's
right?
Not the only one, yeah.
And so is the Democratic Party. And by the way, I'm guessing they're getting funded by pretty much the same people. So, you know, that's where the power is. It's not with these puppets.
It's true.
It's ridiculous.
Yep.
It's ridiculous. That the only purpose of that is for us to fight it out and think we're making some difference, but we're not. In this part of the conversation, one of the most hypocritical things I've ever heard in my life, a person that's a lifelong Democrat, whatever else, like, I'm about to lose my rights as a woman. I'm buying a gun. What? Literally was a statement by somebody that I know. And I say,
that's interesting.
And it's a smart person, right?
Yeah.
We're brainwashed, man. We got to rethink what they're doing to us.
I just, you know, and we got to
rethink it.
We have said this, and I don't want to come across extremist or anything, but it's crazy how easily we get brainwashed. It is nuts. Like, I don't know right now. I know, listen, we have more visibility to the entire country and world now than we ever have when we were growing up. We can see people and hear the crazy and hear all this stuff more so than ever before with social media and with phones. We were growing up, we didn't have that. You lived in your place, you understood, you looked at the news to understand what was going on with them, but you didn't really know, right? I have more fear of the people within our country as humans, as civilians now,
100%,
because of how all of this is the extreme on both sides that's taking place than ever before. And I understand, unfortunately, by the way, how propaganda and how these things can create a groundswell, or you could make humans do things that I never thought they would ever.
That's right.
That my country and look, people that I knew would ever do before.
Here's the truth of it, and this gets a little deep, but it's true. Change never happens from voted politicians. That's not how change happens. You know how change happens? When everybody collectively gets together around a cause and does something different. And sometimes that doing something different is not a good thing. It's an uprising. It's a revolution. It's whatever. Sometimes it's a good thing where they stop spending their money somewhere else. The only way change happens is when people come together, because that's bigger than 100%. The parts, right? And one might say, and some could say it's conspiracy, but one might say by keeping us split, that's what prevents that from ever happening, right? That's what prevents it from ever happening.
100%.
And so there you go. Okay?
Yeah, 100%.
Because I think that's the real story. Okay?
Yeah.
So fight that one, fight this one. And in the end, nothing ever happens except we fight, and we don't get together to fix the real things that need to be fixed.
There is a funny, and I'm not even going to try to quote it, but there is a funny George Carlin skit. And it's funny because it's totally accurate right now. If you haven't seen it, it talks exactly like that. It's the goal is to have the people fighting amongst themselves while the rich get richer, and the politicians do all of these things. And, and again, I'm not going to try to quote the whole thing, but it's like the middle class has fear from being the poor, and the poor is trying to get to the middle class, and all of these things. But it really just sums it all up. The goal of it is to keep them this way.
50-50. Because when you have 50-50, you never have 100, right?
That's right.
And so the 100 is what's powerful. 50-50 has no power. By definition,
themselves.
By definition, 50-50 has no power. All right?
Yep. True.
And that's it.
That's right.
I mean, if anybody wants to know what's really happening, that's what you got to look at.
Yeah.
And that's why there's so much effort to keep us fighting on these ridiculous things that if we actually used our brains and took a step back and said, does any of this ever change? None of it ever changes. All it ever does is keep us split so that we can't get together and really change things.
Really make change.
Really make change.
Totally.
Right?
Totally.
And that to me is the election special. Thank you very much.
Yeah, well done, Bob. Well done. Yes.
All right, it's the turtleneck.
I love it. It makes the best of Bob come out.
Very intelligent looking.
Very intelligent. Save the other one till next week, all right?
I will. I do have the other Bobs. We're going to get back to funny because now we're done, right? We're done. We're done. It's done. That's it. Yeah, that's it. Okay, it's go on 4 years.
I'm sure there'll be things that we'll talk about.
I'm sure there will, right? But it's going to be all baloney stuff. And the big picture is nothing, right?
I'm just looking forward to some comments that are funny.
But I do have, I have Bobisms, and I'm going to give you a little teaser as to what it has to do with toilets, public toilets. We're going to talk about that next time. Because I got a lot of things.
Let's do it. Yeah,
I got a lot of things on my mind about public toilets, which I use less and less. Well, now that I'm traveling
which is
more
why
and I'm older, I need to use them more frequently.
Yeah.
And, there's lots of things going on there. So anyway, this is something that I want to, cover. Thank you. This will be lighten the mood. Mom's on the mend, right? Mom's on the mend.
Mom's good. Mom's getting better.
The country's on the mend maybe by then. I don't know.
Just gets better. Hopefully,
leave this week behind us.
That's all we can do. Gotta have hope. Gotta have hope and positivity.
Move on to toilet humor. That's what we're going to do.
I love it.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks for joining for our election special.
Yes, sir.
And wish James' mom well, like all of us. I'm sure she's going to be great, man. And maybe we can get our proactive clean outs.
Yeah, right? Exactly. Maybe we could schedule some.
Yeah. And while you're waiting for that news, thanks again for joining. And we'll see you back here on another episode of
Beyond the Beef.
Thanks everybody.